Hi there, I'm Noah, and I'm a 2D animator and artist. And today I'm going to be showing my process of how I draw heads. It's going to be a fun little, just kind of draw along, nothing too crazy. Let me show you our first subject. So I'm drawing this lady right here, and I'll have it up on the screen if you want to join along. But I got my paper. I'll show off what kind of pencils I'm using today. Got a mechanical pencil here. Pretty sure it's a 2H? No, it's an HB, yep. This is simple. I like doing this to lay down my construction lines at first. I also sometimes work in blue. I have another mechanical pencil that I like working in blue. Blue lead. Yeah, something like that. I'll show this one too. A little different. And then when I go in and finish, I use a 2B. This one comes from Japan. I really like how smooth it is. It's part graphite and clay. Also get a little pencil extender for that one as well. Anyway, when we get started, work on doing this face. So, I think I'll start with the blue for this one. I like sketching in blue. This helps me see what lines I want to keep and do. So I usually start out just with a circle, just for the head. This is more like the skull shape I like to use. And then on this one, I can show you. Let's take a look at this a little deeper together. I'm looking for big noticeable shapes and curves. So that's a big shape. This is a big shape. Her jawline, that's going to be a really big shape, and kind of this line I want to make sure I get. Her hair, kind of one big shape too. Just kind of noticing the position of her eyes in relation to her nose, and I'll show you what I mean in my construction lines. All right, but starting off with simple shapes. So we got our circle, and I'm just gonna draw the side of her head like that, roughly. Just cut that circle in half. This is about where her eyeline's gonna be. And then looking at my reference, her middle of her face is right around here. Something like that. And then I like drawing the eye sockets because they're nice and big. So eye sockets are way bigger than the actual eye. And I think it helps to give a more accurate description of the eyes. You can see from my reference that her ear's all the way over here. So I'll just make a little oval for that. I cut my circle from this half. I'm going to go about another half. That's where her nose is going to be. All right. And just trying to get that one shape of her chin and her jawline. Kind of getting there a little bit. We're going from this half down to that half. It's where her lip line is going to be. So we got our eye line, nose line, and lip line. All right. And then just kind of leaning her neck forward. So I'll just put something temporary for that. Might put some temporary shapes for her hair. Just kind of let me know where it is. I know that the bill of her head's coming right above her eyes. So maybe something like that. But I'm trying to spend more time looking at my reference. And then as more time looking at my reference too, as to looking at my drawing. Yeah, once after I've sketched, I'll kind of go back in, do a second pass where I'll kind of get a little bit more specific of what I'm seeing. So her nose is we don't really see this side of her face because her nose is kind of blocking all that. So, just sketching loosely, nothing crazy. And some light lines for where her lips are. Try to match her lips up with her eyes. There we go. Again, I'm not going for perfection. I'm just trying to capture what I see and kind of put my style onto it. I'm just kind of getting the rest of her body. And notice my reference, one eye, this eye is going to be a little bit lower than this eye. So, make that right there. That way it follows and tracks all that. Big thing about drawing, just in general, sometimes you just gotta commit to your lines. You gotta not really worry about getting it perfect, but getting it so that it reads like what you want it to read. At least that's been my experience. I don't try to make these perfect. I just try to get as close as I can while just infusing my own kind of style on it. Just kind of the fun part. You're just kind of poking out a little bit. There we go. Let's put our hat next. Come up here. It's kind of a poofy hat. I like it. If I ever wear something like this, I don't know. I want to try. I at least want to try a hat like this. You don't really see hats like these, at least in America, too often. All right, that's not a bad sketch. I like that. So now I'm going to take my 2B and use this to kind of come in and darken our lines. This is kind of the fun part, and you kind of just get to pick which lines you want to keep. So usually I like to start at the eyes, because if I mess up the eyes, the rest kind of just doesn't work. Yeah, I'm just going super soft. You don't have to press too hard with this pencil, because it's just very smooth drawing experience. That clay really does just like help to make it just a really nice drawing utensil. Definitely one of my favorite pencils to use. Yeah, this is coming out nice. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Sometimes I'll take breaks from the face and go back and work on other parts. There's no rush to this. But again, just always looking at my reference every once in a while. At this point, kind of just look at my lines and just kind of pick which ones I want to keep. When I'm initially sketching, like I said, definitely looking at my reference a lot more than when I'm not. But, yeah, when I first got into drawing, I loved just drawing people and heads and stuff and creating characters. I thought it was so much fun just to create people that, would never exist. But it's one of my favorite reasons why I like drawing is you can create something that no one's ever seen before, or a person, and then you give it like a personality, and you kind of create this, thing from nothing. Like capturing this person's likeness on a flat piece of paper. I don't know, just something kind of, not magical, but just kind of like awe-inspiring. Just to turn this piece of paper into something. Let's finish this lip. There we go. I'm liking that. Yep. All right, let's finish off her clothes a little bit. Keep the necklace simple, nothing too crazy. Another great thing about this pencil that I really like, it's easy to get dark lines or dark shading pretty quick. I'm not really pressing, this is how I'm using the pencil, but you get these nice dark shading really quick. And it's great for just when you want to quickly shade your sketch. To go on my finger, kind of just rub away at the graphite, give a softer kind of look. It's a fun technique if you don't mind getting graphite on your finger. All right, I'm liking the look of that. Let's do another one. All right, so I'm going to take a little bit, just take a look at this guy, see what his deal is all about. Got big shapes of hair, kind of all this one big shape. Definitely some tussles of hair. I like this. There's almost no neck on him. He's got this big turtleneck, which is kind of cool. Obviously, eyes, glasses, mustache. Those are all big shapes to look after. I'm also noticing the curve of his face right here. It kind of goes in. Also, just kind of, if you squint your eyes, you kind of blur the image. You can see that his face is kind of one big shape. This part. So, stuff to keep in mind as we go into this next sketch. Grab my blue again and get to it. So again, just breaking down the simple shapes. Moving in, just coming in with the circle. Like the split it down the middle, and the sides of his head. And then cut the circle in half. It's kind of looking down though, so maybe we'll go a little lower. And connect his chin. His nose and his mouth line. All right. And that turtleneck is kind of cover his chin. At least that's something, that kind of shape. Something like that. Just some markers for his ears. And then he has some really cool hair, so I'm gonna go kind of just grab that kind of outside shape of it. Yeah, something like that. All right, now I'm gonna go back and add a little bit more detail. So, let's start with his eye sockets. And his eyes are kind of like right here. His eyebrows right here. And his glasses kind of come right above his eyes. And sometimes I use this triangle method to find the nose, or roughly where the nose is. So I line up his eyes and then kind of go in the middle to where I meet my center line, which this one's kind of off axis to the right a little bit. So that's where our reference is looking at. Use this triangle method, and then I kind of get an idea of where I want his nose. And then just kind of a rough area for his lips. He's kind of not really smiling. He's got this cool mustache. Again, I'm not pushing very hard, it's very light. Getting it loose. Then his hairline is kind of up high. So start up high like that. Follow that curve of that cheek. His ears kind of come out a little bit more than normal. So capture that. He also has an earring. Didn't notice that. Can't really see this ear though, it's covered by hair. Just gonna add a little frilliness to his hair. All right, I'm happy with that sketch. Okay, moving on. Gonna grab my 2B and I'm gonna go in and thicken our lines. Again, I like to start with the eyes. Just kind of get like half circle kind of eyes. Like you're squinting at something really hard. But then the rims of his glasses kind of come in and take up a lot of his face. Come with his eyebrows. Then kind of has flared out nostrils a little bit. If they kind of come out to the side. Get the side of his glasses. And then for mustaches, for most men, they kind of have that triangle point right here at the tip of the nose. So triangle, instead of like making it flushed with the nose, like let's say this is the nose. Instead of being like flushed or all the way up here, most men, and it's just easier when you're like drawing, and the mustache follows the nose like that. So it's a little tip that I like to use. All right, moving on to his loops. Kind of has some stubble down there too. And then the top of that turtleneck is kind of just coming across. Just keep that shape simple for now. All right, let's work on his ear next. Come in, it's nice and loose. Give him an earring. We're gonna cover up this ear because he has a lot of hair there. So I'll probably come back in, just kind of cover it up a little bit. But man, this guy's kind of cool. I like his style. You know he's cool. You think he's cool. Yeah. So for his hairline, kind of has this triangle up here. It juts down a little bit. This guy, I can see this guy in like an anime or something, for sure. Now, I'm not doing too much detail in this here, except for on the outer edge, and you'll see why in just a sec. Because once I kind of shade it in, I'll go back and kind of pick what I want to keep. Now, just trying to just keep the outside kind of detailed. Yeah, something like that. Then I come back, I'm going to darken it. We'll see if it reads like hair. It kind of does, though. We can come back, instead of using the side, we use the point now. Kind of just follow his hair flow in certain areas to kind of help sell the illusion that his hair is flowing backwards. All right, this guy's looking great. I'm liking it. A little bit of shading under his eyes. Maybe around his head. It's very light, nothing crazy. Definitely some shading around his cheeks. And yeah, I'm liking that. Nice. Let's do another one. Oh, that should be an interesting one. All right. So we got big head shape, but we also got this mouth shape, which should be interesting. Probably going to simplify the teeth. Kind of a small ear, but yeah, it's more. The most important thing I'm looking at is just kind of getting this head shape correct, and then extending the jawline because their mouth is opening. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna be looking for in this next stage. All right, here we go. Got my blue. Just keep it loose. This ain't my blue. This is my this is my graphite. That's okay. We'll use this one. We'll do the next ones without the blue, just so you get a feel between the difference of having blue as your construction lines or having graphite, like regular pencil lead, as your construction lines. All right, so she's facing more this way. 3/4. The jawline. Small ear. I'm going to cut it. The head right around the middle. Maybe a little bit lower. Nose is right here. This time we use top of mouth and then the bottom of the lip. Just to help, because her mouth is really wide open. And then get the rest of it. Just wearing like some sort of suit or something. That's kind of cool. Right, just like before, I'm going to go in, add a little bit more detail. So our eye sockets. Her nose. And then that mouth shape. And kind of like that. Just a very pronounced jawbone line, this part. Alright, so kind of start right around here. Just kind of got wide eyes a little bit. So lots of lashes, so we give her lots of lashes. Onto the nose. Like a nose highlight right there. Her lips have lots of curves. It's kind of cool. Don't really see extra like old pronounced mouth. Again, I'm kind of just not struggling all the details too much. And the chin pokes up just a little bit underneath her lips. This will do over here. And has like a point at the top. Yeah, something like that. All right, just like before, grab my darker pencil. And come back in and darken my lines that I want to keep. And I'm not showing every single detail. I'm just showing what I feel is important to capture. There we go. Yeah, sometimes I just kind of hop all over the drawing. Just finding what I want to draw first. Come back to other ones later. I see there are a couple like hot spots on her face where the light is brightest. It's kind of like around there, her nose for sure, parts of her ears, so keep that in mind as I come in the shade. keeping it loose, doing our best. It's okay. Come back in, use my finger, soften up some areas that I want softened. And kind of come back with my eraser. Just any eraser, and kind of lightly just go back on those areas with the hot spots. All right, let's do one last one. So for this one, we got a strong nose shape right here. Strong jawline. Yep. And then we got this flowy hair. So we got hair coming this way. We also got this nice hairline right here. All right. So those are kind of some of the hot spots I'm going to be looking out for. There we go. All right, so she's kind of looking down, so we'll look down too with her. And her hair is kind of like right around here, matching with her eye line and her nose line. Here we can kind of just come down, grab that jawline. Something like that. Grab that lips. The side of her head, get the curve of her cheek. And get those two eyes. Kind of mark the nose better. And her nose is touching cheek line according to the reference. Take that into account. Hairs come up behind her ear. Got a few tendrils of hair just coming down. Something like that. Right, let's go back and add a little more detail. Eyes kind of start right there. So it kind of covers up. One for this eye. Eyebrows. Nice. And grab her lips. There we go. Just that nice curve of her jaw up to her ear. So a few more details for her hair. All right. If your sketch is too dark, you can always kind of come in and just lightly erase it. If you have a kneadable eraser, you can knead it into like a long kind of tube shape and just kind of go back and forth and roll it like a rolling pin. But if my sketch is too dark, I'll just kind of come in like that and just rub away at it. Yeah, start with her eyes. I don't know why I start with the eyes. I think even in just kind of in real life, eyes are some of the first things we look at. Human to human. What's that saying? The eyes are like the windows to the soul. So if my eyes look weird, I just assume the rest of my drawing will look weird or something like that. But yeah, sometimes I take the longest on eyes just because they can be so emotive sometimes. So much expression. Like, no two people's eyes react the same. Definitely cases of like similarity, but yeah. So we've got like those smiling eyes. You don't have to draw every single little thing of hair. Just enough. Get the idea. So when I'm drawing hair, I'm choosing more hair shapes than individual clumps of hair. You know, some people like to draw hair, you know, like they have their head. They do kind of like that kind of hair, which is not bad, but I feel you get more information told by showing us the shapes of the hair. Lost my point. I get my point back. I want to make this eye just a little bit bigger. Again, just going for that hair shape that I'm seeing. All right. Let's come back and kind of get a little shading so you can see where the light's coming. There's no hair here. Oops. It's empty space. There we go. All right, well, that will do it. Thank you for joining me. Hope you learned something or had fun just joining along in the process. If you want to see more of this in the future, let us know in the comments, and feel free to subscribe if you want to see other art stuff and other art projects that we do. Again, thank you so much for your time, and have a great day. Bye.